Hey there, I'm Bailey and welcome to my channel where we discuss all the tips and tricks necessary for you to live a life of adventure. So I'm like super pumped for today's video because I have a brand new piece of gear to try out today with you guys, and that is the Ruff Rescue emergency carry harness. So if you have ever heard of one of these emergency carry harnesses, essentially they're used to help you pick up large dogs and carry them out of the backcountry if they are to get injured. That way you don't have to leave them behind, call for help. You should theoretically be able to carry them out on your own. Personally, I have been extremely skeptical of these products for years. Like, I constantly am telling people that I would just make a sledge and pull out my dog instead, that I don't think I can carry my 60-pound German Shepherd by myself with this. So we're about to test this out and find out if that's actually the case, or if this is actually a product that, I should add to my gear collection, and, something that, others should consider adding to their gear collection if you are avid about hiking and backpacking with your large dogs. So what we're going to go ahead and do today is take this thing out to the wilderness, take Prima out to the wilderness. We're going to try to see how easy it is to use. Can I actually pick her up with it easily? How heavy is she? And then I'm going to test out to see if I'm able to use the harness along with my other gear. That way I don't have to leave the 10 essentials behind. I'm also planning to see how comfortable it is to carry over a distance. A lot of the pictures I see of people using these or showing off that they bought one is just them using it in the living room. And I want to know, is this something that's actually feasible to use over, a long distance? Because injuries don't just happen 100 feet from the trailhead. So we're going to give that a shot, and then when we get back, we'll go ahead and talk about some of the technical specs of this product. That way you can go ahead and decide if it's worth carrying, backpacking, and that kind of thing. And then maybe, down the road, I'll do some other reviews of similar products and see which one is the best. This is my first one, so we'll give it a shot and see how it goes. But before we can dive into our video and get out there, if you are looking to start hiking, backpacking with your dogs, or build your skills, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I post new videos every week. And then lastly, if you want to see more reviews just like this, be sure to smash that like button. That tells me that I should keep saving my paycheck to spend it on more dog gear to review for you guys. So now let's get out there and give this thing a shot. Okay, so I'm here at Bishop's Beach outside of Homer, here to test out the new rescue harness that I have with me. So I decided to come here to test it for a couple of reasons. First of all, pretty much everywhere else in Homer has snow right now, and I just figured it'd be a little easier to walk without snow, since it's more what it's gonna be like if you're hiking. The other reason is, even though there's no elevation gain or loss here, there's no hills, it's pretty rocky and there's no trail. So I figured trying to walk with it being uneven in a lot of places would be a pretty good test. Let's go ahead and try it out on her first. So the first thing I want to point out is that when you get the harness out, you'll notice that there's a big square in the middle, and then on the two triangles there's an F and an R. The F and the R are on the inside of the harness, so you want that to be facing the dog, which is kind of nice and helpful. When you put it on, you put the rectangle on first, and then I would do the front. If you read the instructions, they tell you that's the part that carries the most weight of the dog. So I would do that and make it snug first, and then flip up the triangle on the back underneath their bottom. You'll notice that the tail sticks out. One of the reasons why I picked this specific harness to try out first instead of a different brand is because they say that one of the pros is that you can build it around your dog rather than having to have your dog step into it. So if they're injured and they can't get up on their own, you can just kind of put it around them instead of having to wrestle with them as much. So that's kind of nice. The downside is all the buckles do make it a little bit difficult sometimes to figure out which one goes with which, and so it takes a little bit of finagling, especially if you were kind of in a panic or in a hurry. That could be a problem, I could see. So once you have all the buckles done, so it's up and snug around your dog, then you can go ahead and stick the straps on the top of the rectangle through the loops on the other side, and then get your back up to your dog, and you want to connect opposites. So there's a loop you'll see that's underneath your dog. You're going to connect that with the opposite one over your shoulder, and then same on the other side, and make an X across your chest. So I tried this out. It was fairly easy to pick her up. That has always been my biggest complaint about these products, is I was very unsure whether I would actually be able to pick up and carry my 60-pound dog when she weighs almost half of me. I've tried the fireman carry before. I have a really hard time picking her up in the fireman carry just because she does weigh so much. She weighs almost, between 60 and 70 pounds. So I definitely noticed that it was easier to pick her up with the carry harness than it would be doing the fireman carry, so that is definitely a pro. But it still was a little difficult, so I tried to readjust, and that made a difference. And I think that's something I'm going to have to play with a little bit, is just to see where her weight falls, because you are using your shoulders, which is a bit more difficult on your back and that kind of thing. I did also notice that she was grunting a lot. It seemed like the front part of the harness was holding her pretty well, but I'm not sure how comfortable it would actually be for her. So that's something to take into consideration. I mean, it is for an emergency. We're going to give it a shot in just a second to see how comfortable it is long term. I guess that's the whole point, right? Is you're using this in emergency to get them out. So you want them to be fairly comfortable, but I'm not sure how nice it necessarily feels for her to be in the harness. One thing I kind of noticed too is that the material is pretty thin, which is probably going to be a good thing on the weight front. The straps are pretty heavy duty as far as it goes, and the buckles are pretty thick, but I would be a little concerned about the fabric tearing if you're someplace where they're going to get caught on a branch if you are hiking off trail and have to pack out your dog, and that kind of thing. So I'm not sure. It seemed to hold her pretty well, but it is fairly thin is something that I did notice. So let's go ahead and give this thing a shot where I pick her up and then pick up my backpack and see how easy it is to carry her with a backpack on. So this has always been another concern that I've had with these products, is that if my dog is injured, I don't really have a strong desire to leave my gear behind, because if I get injured carrying her out, I want to make sure I have my 10 essentials with me so we can spend the night. Or if something else happens, we're running out of daylight and we have to stop, I just want to make sure I have everything with me, so I don't feel very good leaving the rest of my gear behind to carry out my dog. So we're going to give that a shot. My backpack, you'll notice, set up more in like a day hiking type setup. I'm not sure how this would go if you have all of your backpacking gear with you. So that's something I'm going to have to think about and see how it goes. But let's give this a shot, picking up her and then trying it out with my backpack. And then after we do that, we're going to go ahead and go for a little walk and see how it works over time over rocky terrain with her and with my gear. Okay, so I've got Prima with you here. You can see her. I've got my backpack on. She's kind of making some grunting sounds. But we're gonna give this thing a shot walking down the beach outside of Homer. So here we go. Okay, so I've only been walking for a little bit, and I can already tell that my shoulders are getting tired and my pack keeps falling off. Prima's kind of uncomfortable. She saw another dog and did pretty well, but definitely is moving her legs around a little bit and not super happy. I kind of wonder if maybe I could readjust, and I do think it would be easier without my backpack. And so far we've just been walking on the sand, so we'll see if that gets any better or not. Okay, so I just ditched my backpack. Hasn't really been very far, probably not even a quarter of a mile, but I'm pretty tired already. You can see that the way the X is, it's pretty close up on your shoulders and under your throat, so it kind of makes it, I don't know, it just is not super comfortable at the moment. I mean, it certainly works in emergency, and I'm certainly able to carry her much easier than I would be otherwise, but I'm still not 100% convinced. Okay, so that didn't go quite as well as it could have. I have a couple ideas to maybe fix some of the problems. The first one is to try it with the straps that go over my shoulders a little bit looser. So maybe see if that puts more of her weight on my hips rather than on my shoulders to make it a little easier to carry her. I also do want to try carrying her in it over the rocks just to see how easy it is to balance and that kind of thing. So let's go ahead and give that a try. Okay, so I'm here. I got Prima all hooked up once again. I will say I do think it makes a difference having the harness a little bit looser. The one thing I notice is that I can feel back at the moment, and shoulders, we'll see long term. Doing okay on the rocks so far. It's not horrible rocky right here, but there are some rocks. Backpack is still a little bit uncomfortable. I tried to see if maybe I could use my hip belt or my breast like strap to hook it around my back so it'd stay on better, but it's still, the problem is like the straps slip off over my shoulders, which is kind of uncomfortable and gets a little tiresome over time. Okay, so I think I've finished all my tests for today at the beach with this product. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. We've tried putting it on, walking around with just the harness on, adjusting the straps different ways, and then walking with my backpack as well over some distance on sand and on rocks. So let's go back to the house and talk about my final thoughts as well as the specs on this product, like price, weight, and all that good stuff. So we'll see. We're gonna finish our nice walk on the beach and we'll see you back at the house. Alright, so I am back from the beach. Dogs are enjoying their treat for helping out, so I guess thanks to Prima for being our demo dog for the day. Let's go ahead and talk about some specs on this product, and then after we get through that, I will go ahead and discuss what I liked and disliked and my overall thoughts on the product, as well as emergency carry harnesses in general. So first of all, you know, this is specifically the Ruff Rescue Gear harness, so this might be a little bit different depending on the brand, but for me, this cost a total of $98.35. So the product itself costs $89. If you live in the lower 48, then shipping is free for you. Because I live in Alaska, I had to pay $9.35 for shipping. So that being said, even paying for shipping, I will say I ordered this on a Saturday afternoon, I believe, and it was in my mailbox the next Monday. So that like is a super fast turnaround time, especially living in Alaska. Like normally I order stuff like Amazon Prime. We do not get 2-day shipping here. Things take way longer than that. So the fact that I got this product so fast, I think just shows the attention to detail and the high level of customer service that this company appears to have. In addition to the fast turnaround time, there was also a nice thank you card in the package with my gear. So inside the thank you card that's specifically addressed to me, it says, "Hello Bailey, thank you, happy tails, and safe trails. Practice and share pictures with us." And then it's signed Tim. So I think that's kind of a nice touch that this company, you know, included a nice thank you card. And it wasn't just like generic, it has my name on it, so it's not like they just have them thrown in. So that I think was kind of a nice touch. In addition, with the thank you card, there is information on how to use the product. I forgot to bring this with me to the beach today, but it goes through step by step how to set up the harness. So I did read through this before I used it at the beach. So I do want to mention that. The only thing is, it would be kind of nice if there was like a better picture on here and slightly better instructions. I had to read through it a couple times. I didn't figure out right away. There just are a lot of straps, so, but they do have instructions. The other thing they have is like their hashtags, so you can share with them on social media. That's included in there. And then the final thing with that thank you card is a Ruff Rescue Gear sticker. So if you're a sticker person, they give you a sticker with the product. The last thing that they included with the overall package, other than the like statement, the thank you card, and that package, is I was also surprised to see that they include like a little mini first aid kit. I was not expecting that. When I was looking on their website before I bought this product, there were like 3 different options, and I just went with the middle option of just the rescue harness. So I was not expecting to get any additional like first aid or emergency supplies with this pack. So within this first aid kit, there is a list of the contents, and so you get tweezers, rubber gloves, antihistamine, triple antibiotic, some gauze pads, antiseptic pads, some bandage material, band-aids, and a waterproof roll of tape. I'm not sure how much of this I would actually use. I would certainly throw in the antihistamine and a couple of these, but like the gauze pads overall, I would not use this as your only first aid kit, but I did think that it was a nice touch of them to send this little baggie inside. And of course, you also get the harness inside the little like stuff sack. I used it inside the stuff sack today. I don't know if I would take the stuff sack normally. I think I would leave that at home just to save weight. So, and then the harness itself, the harness does weigh 12.5 ounces when it's inside the stuff sack, and then if you take the stuff sack out, stuff sack weighs 0.6 ounces, so that brings you up to a grand total of 11.9 ounces if you are just carrying the harness. So not too bad, it's less than a pound. Most of these straps are pretty heavy. Most of the buckles are pretty heavy duty. They're not meant to be light. So I do think that the fabric itself is pretty thin. It's kind of similar to a lot of like the thin nylon type tents. Mine did get wet a little bit and it seems to be doing okay, and got sand and stuff on it today. I think for what its purpose is, it's sturdy enough that I don't think it would fail you if you're using it to carry a dog within the proper weight limit. But I don't think it would stand up to like, you know, wear and tear and abuse if you were using it every single hike to carry like an older dog or something. So those are kind of the technical aspects. So my overall impressions of the product is that I think that there's great customer service. Obviously, the thank you card was a nice touch. It was really fast shipping. I think the harness itself is a little difficult to use at first just because of all the buckles. But the pro to that is you can build it around your dog so you don't have to move your dog. If they've like injured a leg or something, you can wrap them up in it without having to like pull it up over their legs. The downside to that is I'm not sure that this harness was as comfortable for Prima as maybe some of the other brands would have been. I've never tried any of the other like rescue harnesses before or emergency harnesses before, but Prima was definitely kind of groaning and did not seem like she was very thrilled to be in the harness, and I wonder how much of that is just the way the harness fit around her. Did, you know, support her main parts, her front, her end, and the middle, but the buckles just made it a little bit difficult, and I think something that was all-encompassing where you just stick the legs through might support her better, but I'm not positive on that. I'll have to try. As far as the actual use, I will say that I was surprised with how it worked. It worked better than I thought it would, but I still don't know if it works as well as a lot of people think it does. It was easier to stand up than it was with the fireman carry. But over time, if I had to like stand up a lot, so like by the end, like the last couple times I tried to stand up, it was getting harder for me because my legs were getting more tired. And I did notice that while it was comfortable initially when you stood up holding the dog, which I think a lot of people, you know, they try it in their living room for the first time and they say, oh, this is great and wonderful. But once you start walking within a couple hundred yards, the straps I noticed really started to move towards my neck, and that X across the front got tighter. It felt, kind of put some pressure on me. Not anything horrible. It wasn't like suffocating, but you could feel that pressure kind of towards your collarbones and your neck. And I also just noticed that it was a lot harder to carry my dog over time. I do think it would be feasible to carry a larger dog like Prima in the harness for a couple miles if you had to. The downside is that one of my biggest problems with these types of products has always been the fact that I am very nervous about leaving the rest of my gear while I'm carrying my dog out. If my dog is injured, it just does not seem like a very good idea to leave the rest of my 10 essentials behind to carry my dog out. I want to have those with me just in case, you know, I were to get injured carrying my dog out. I don't want to be without that gear. So I tried carrying my bag on the front like you guys saw, and it just was not comfortable at all. It kept slipping off. My day pack is probably a little bit heavier, bulkier than most people, so maybe if it was a smaller pack it wouldn't be so bad. I did try a couple things. I tried to like buckle my hip belts like behind me, and it was difficult for me to do that by myself. I tried to see if I could sling it over on top of Prima when I had her lower on my hips, and that didn't work very well. So I think maybe if you were with another person it would work a little bit better. You could split up your gear and have someone else carry it or help you situate everything so it's more comfortable. But a lot of the people that buy this item are looking for a way to stay safe if you're hiking solo with a large dog is usually the thing, right? So I'm not 100% convinced that this is the answer, and I really don't think this would be the answer if you're in a backpacking situation. Day hiking, I think you can make it work. I don't think that I will be adding this to my backpacking gear list for this summer going forward. I do think I will carry it now that I have it on future day hikes. Just because I have it, I might as well use it. But I do think moving forward that I will be still considering other options, either other rescue harnesses or my original plan, which would be to use tree branches and either a quilt or a tarp or whatever to create some sort of sledge so I can drag Prima out. I mean, the pro to this is dragging a dog over rough terrain could be very difficult, so this like really mitigates that a lot. And there was a lot of good things about it. I just don't think that it is as wonderful as a lot of people make it out to be. So I'll keep it. I'll have it on hand. It'll be nice to use for day hikes. I just don't think it'll go in with my backpacking supplies. So I would love to know if you are someone that has a rescue harness and has used it, is there anything you've noticed that I could have done different? Like for example, the instructions specifically say to make an X. I was kind of thinking that maybe if you made it go over like a backpack straps, it might work a little bit better, but I don't know. So maybe you have some tips on you if you've used this product, or maybe you've used a different rescue harness that's worked better. If so, be sure to let me know down in the comments. That way I can try it out and maybe make a different video and go forward from there. So again, I would really appreciate a thumbs up on this video. That just lets me know that I should keep saving up my paychecks to buy more gear to try out for you guys. And otherwise, that's all I have for today. So be sure to stay tuned for more videos in the future. And until then, I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Happy trails, and we'll see you out there.